Welcome to the screencast. This is session 2 of Lookup Stores. I'm going to be covering using Lookup Stores. That's in your info flows and the migrations. I've already covered what are lookups, old versus new, Lookup Stores, etc. So go check out session 1 if you're not sure about these other topics here. So we're going to jump straight into info store. And just briefly to review that, to create and manage the data stores, in other words manage the fields and the structure of a data store, we need to go under the development tab, and there we can manage the data stores. Okay, so this is managing the structure. This is not managing the actual content or the data. So you can see this is where I add fields, I can rearrange fields, etc. I can add an index to the table and so on, but I'm not adding the data here. To add the data I need to go under Data Management, Lookup Stores. And on this screen I can see a preview. If there were more lookup stores here, they would all be listed. And I can click on each lookup store and I can just get a preview. It will show you the top 100 records or so. Now once I've pick the one that I want to edit, you can either double click the row or we can click the edit button, and now we can actually edit the data. So the one screen is a preview screen, the other screen is the actual editing screen. So let's go look at the info flows and create an info flow to use the lookup store. We're going to add a new one called lookup store, and I'm going to create a very simple data flow here. So I'm going to drag on a data flow, and I'm going to put in a debug data source, which will just generate some test data for me. Two fields. One is going to be the external code, which represents the field coming from the file. Actually going to take that one out there and rather put it as a derived field. So my derived field is going to be my fun code. So the field mappings represent what comes from the external system, and the derived fields are fields that I'm working with. In other words, calculated fields. That's all done. That's going to generate 10 rows for me. Moving back into the data flow, I'm going to put in an action transform just to set those fields to a known value. So we're going to put in a text action. We're going to be working on the external code field, and we're going to set the override value to sky. That was one of the fun codes in my lookup. We're then going to put in a visualizer because we want to see what's happening as the data flows through. And now we put in our lookup. So notice there is now a new option in lookups, the lookup data store. The old one was a lookup table, new one is a lookup data store. We're going to pick the lookup data store, there it is, fun codes. We want to retrieve the internal code, and we want to put that into our fun code field. That's the field which is going to be loaded into the database. We have to create our join. So these are the fields that are available in the lookup store. So we're going to join to the external code with an equals, and we're going to join using our external code from our data flow. That's all we should need there. And what I'm going to do is add another visualizer just so we can see what happens after the lookup's done its work, and right at the end a debug data destination. That should do the trick. So if we run that, we can see the data flowing through. External code is sky, fun code is nothing because our lookup has not worked yet. After the lookup, notice that it's been translated into the internal lookup code. And that's a value that you're probably going to map into your database. And that's that done. And then briefly just to go over migrations. If we click on Migrate Lookups, I'm not going to actually do that, but if we click the Migrate button up there, that's going to transform all the old lookups into new lookup stores. Everything's automatic, so all of the existing info flows and data flows will still carry on working.